Uniform Show, episode 12. We're taking this opportunity to look at the career of the greatest number 12 in professional sports history, and that is Tom Brady, a career that spanned over 20 years, 2000 to 2022. And although he spent nearly his entire career in New England, there were a lot of different uniforms he wore, a lot of alternates, and you just see the changes in the league with equipment over 3 different decades with Tom Brady. So let's look at it from the beginning. This was from Tom Brady's first Super Bowl, the 2001 Super Bowl. Totally significant game when you thought about it. Ended what we thought was going to be a Rams dynasty, and it began a Patriots dynasty.
And with the Patriots at this point in history, one of the most noticeable things is the more silver pants with the shine in them, opposed to what they became later on, more gray, not much silver shine at all. He has more the traditional cleats, sock structure with white on the bottom and navy blue on the top. And of course the good looking original helmet that he wore.
Well, right away for me, my favorite part of Tom Brady's uniform is his helmet. When you're looking at the New England years, and we're going to look at some of the different helmets that he wore, but this is what he's remembered for. This is what he's known for, is this. And I always enjoyed seeing him on the field warming up and said, what a great helmet. When you wear this for the Patriots, the silver, the blue, and then the red face mask. It's the same helmet that some of the other great quarterbacks wore, such as Troy Aikman and then Brett Favre. And Tom Brady wore it well for nearly his entire run with the Patriots. And this was back in, we said, the 2001 season. This would have been early 2002. And you just see how the uniforms have changed. When you mentioned pants, right, on both sides, that you had more of that at least touch of silver and actual shine with the Patriots, but also the Rams with the gold. You can see some of that there, that we're focusing on Brady. That uniforms over the last 20 years have changed dramatically.
And not for the better, visually.
And I also have to laugh at this, that like many of these players, they're indoors and he's wearing the eye black.
Right.
Which, Tom Brady always wore the eye black. Now we move to a few seasons later, and this was his second Super Bowl in 2000, and the 2003 season, played in 2004 against the Panthers. And what we see here is consistency. Really no changes that I could see in the Patriots uniform. And I wish they would have stayed with this look compared to what they had changed in the last decade, and especially with what they have now.
Right, no real obvious changes. Solid structure overall. A lot of the same equipment that we just noted in the first slides.
And actually, this is interesting too, because his first 2 Super Bowls were played indoors. Actually, many of the Super Bowls Tom Brady played in, if we're going over his whole career, it's actually the exception that he was playing outdoors. Now that I think about it, it was only the Eagles Super Bowl, the first one, which would have been a year later. Then both of the Giants Super Bowls were indoors. The Seahawks Super Bowl was, you could have said it would have been indoors, but the roof was open.
Right.
The Falcons.
The Eagles and Rams Super Bowls, and then, well, they had the home game with the Buccaneers.
Right.
Shows you how many indoor Super Bowls there are. And this is a little later, you could say the more middle of his career. As you can see, this one on the left is from one of those Giants Super Bowls there. I believe it was actually the second Super Bowl they played against the Giants. And you see that consistent look. And want to talk about one of the differences here is look at the pants, Reebok.
Right.
You have Reebok, and we know everything is Nike. It's universal. Every single team has Nike. And back in the old days, you could have had Nike, was rare. You could have Reebok, you could have Starter doing the jerseys.
Adidas. Puma.
And Tom Brady's also known for playing well and even looking good in the bad weather, whether it be the rain or the snow. Playing in New England, you saw so much of the elements throughout the years, whether it be the regular season or playoffs. Again, I just love the red face mask and the contrast that you have with two primary colors, but they're still the team colors. Also, later on in his career, you can see the Nike there on the jersey and the pants. On the left here, it was the Seahawks Super Bowl in Arizona. And he played most, you think about at least the end of his career in New England, or the latter half of the Super Bowls, or you can even say the second Super Bowl run or dynasty, that you, whatever you want to call it. They end up wearing white most of the time. The first Super Bowl against the Rams was blue. Against the Panthers, it was blue. Then they wore the white. Then they wore blue 2 times in a row against the Giants. And that was the last time, because against the Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Eagles, they wore white.
Right.
And the Rams. Actually, the last 4 Super Bowls, and it's crazy to say that, oh, these were just the last 4 Super Bowls he played in, they wore away, or the white.
So they did feel they had some extra success with those.
And this was from that legendary Falcons Super Bowl, the comeback, that they wore white inside. One thing I've never liked about the Patriots uniform, the road uniform, is the striped socks. I would have much rather had some kind of solid sock color versus the stripes. Otherwise, I like the road uniform, but of the two, which one is your favorite, the home or the road?
Probably still the home, just because of the silver pants matching the silver helmet, and like you said, the solid blue sock over the striped, just a little more consistent with the rest of the design. Of course, the uniform set they had before this had the silver pants with the road white, and they made the change to the navy for this set. So you do have a little example of what it would have looked like if they had used the silver pants.
Yeah, same with me. I prefer them in the Super Bowls to wear the home, and I was a little disappointed when mentioning those last four Super Bowls or the final four Super Bowls he had in New England that it was white every time, when actually the first, again, it's hard to keep track of all these Super Bowls. It's so easy with other teams and other players, but when you played in 10 Super Bowls and then it was 9 with one team, the Patriots wore the home, and I got used to it. It was 4 out of 5. 4 out of the first 5, they wore the home blue.
Right.
And at that point, they actually were 3-2 in Super Bowls. And in the blue, and that must be a factor, they start off 2-0, but because they lost those 2 against the Giants, they stopped wearing the blue if they could.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl, even though, yeah, they lost Super Bowls in the white. I mean, they lost to the Eagles, but it was only 1 loss in white,
right,
and 3 losses in the blue. And then we have the turnbacks. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite turnback uniforms. And we can celebrate because they wore them last season in 2022. And we just got the news that they're bringing them back again in 2023. The only reason I'm sad, though, is that instead of Tom Brady wearing it, it's Mac Jones.
It's nice to see here both examples of the 2 that he wore, the older and the more current version, and some of the differences between the 2. Gray face mask, white face mask, and a different center stripe in the helmet, and different numbering outline and stripes on the shoulder, on the pants. I prefer the one on the left with the white face mask and the extra outline around the numbers, and the blue in the middle of the stripe of the helmet, just kind of a little more consistent with everything else, adds a little more color.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they had both versions of the uniform, and I almost go back and forth which one I like better between the 2. Generally not fans, as we've said many times in these episodes, of white helmets, but this is an example of a white helmet done right.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting to see, and I enjoyed seeing them in the weather here, and you can even see the turnback official here in that game on the right. But they can bring these back as full-time uniforms, or bring them and wear them a couple times a season. But I was really glad and excited to see the Patriots bring them back several years ago, because it had been a very long time since they wore these. I think 93 was the year where they introduced the more modern Patriots helmet. And then it really wasn't since 92, from what I know, that they wore these. And again, Brady makes it look good.
Yeah.
Always does. And then we also have this road version, too, that I never remember seeing this. I don't remember seeing the highlights when the Patriots wore it, but it's very interesting. I didn't think they ever wore this on the road.
I either wasn't aware or forgot about it myself, but very interesting to see.
And there were some surprises going through his career history. And again, when your career is 20 plus years as a quarterback, and you're a starting quarterback for all those years except for his rookie year and then the year that in 2008 where he was out for just about the whole season. You're going to see some surprises in that career, and too that you couldn't just pull up the highlights easily and all the pictures throughout the whole career like you can now.
Yeah.
You don't have the constant coverage, the 24-hour NFL network. You didn't have that at the beginning of Tom Brady's career. You have that now, so it's a lot easier to track these things. And I'm going to leave this one up to you. This is your area of expertise. I'll make a few comments and then I'm going to let you go. And this wasn't exactly in chronological order, but in the 2012 season, there was a game that we remember very well, and it was the Patriots going to the Seahawks. And this is when the Seahawks really made a statement game that they were a team on the rise and a team you had to take seriously, and they defeated the Patriots at home. You remember the Richard Sherman scene with Tom Brady at the end. One of the things that really stood out was what happened to his helmet. What happened to Tom Brady's helmet? His beautiful helmet that he always wore, and he decided to wear this in this game.
And we don't know the backstory on it, but he did start mixing and matching, trying different models. In Seattle, it was the Riddell Speed version. And on the one on the left is the Riddell Speed Flex Diamond, which we call the push button because of the diamond shape in the middle. But yeah, both of these helmets much inferior looking to what he had previously. Maybe they are safer. It seems like there's still plenty of concussions that go on in these helmets, but that's a separate issue. But just the look itself, ugly.
Yeah, because the thing is, we are concerned about appearances here. We want the players to be safe, yes, but I find that is there really much evidence that these helmets are truly safer than the others, or the helmet he wore for almost his entire career? I don't know. The good news for Brady was he went back to his usual helmet all the way through the 2018 season. And then 2019, his final season in New England, he switched. And this is actually the picture here. In fact, on the right is his final game, the playoff game against the Titans where they lost, his final game with the Patriots.
Yeah, not a good looking way to go out. And as you said, that final season with the Patriots, he just switched full time. He kept kind of switching back and forth. Previous two seasons, but just went full out Speed Flex Diamond in the final season and didn't go back. And it would have been interesting to see what he had looked like if he had kept his same helmet model through the end of his Patriots career and finishing his career with Buccaneers.
Yeah, and the thing we bring up always is why couldn't he? He's Tom Brady. Why couldn't he? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has held on to his same helmet all these years, and we've already seen it with the off-season pictures with the Jets. He still has the same helmet. The league hasn't forced him to change it to anything else. And you know Tom Brady's concerned with his appearance, no doubt. And he felt, or he got paid, or whatever it was, for whatever reason, he switched.
Yeah, you must have got a bonus for wearing that model instead.
Then there's Color Rush. The NFL had Color Rush. I am so thankful that Color Rush no longer exists. Some teams, of course, choose to wear the color on color, but again, I'm grateful that teams are not forced to wear them any longer. I remember the blue on blue, as many do, that the Patriots had that Tom Brady wore. I do not remember this white on white.
Yeah, I didn't know about the white on white either, or forgot about it. Probably during a time we weren't paying as close attention. But, right, he still has the same white wristband on his left side. And that was a consistent part of his uniform going back to the beginning from the pictures that you showed. Glove on the right picture, and he had a glove from time to time and not. But yeah, to see Tom Brady in this uniform, the all one piece, all colored the same, makes you look really thin and not a good look. and I see too, he did start wearing black half sleeves or full black sleeves, as you saw in some of the previous slide pictures as well, and you see here on the right, which was a change for him too.
And you have the comparison right there between the two helmets. That is his usual helmet, the classic Tom Brady helmet, and there you have the final helmet. Right. The Patriots.
And what happened to the one shell rule during these final seasons in New England? He was switching back and forth. Was there some special exception because he felt it made him safer, was trying to be safer? It's pretty confusing when there was the one shell rule for so long and you couldn't switch helmet models, but he was.
Then what happened was Tom Brady's career ended with the Patriots. And when he lost that game against the Titans in 2019, I thought he was going to retire.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. And then he joins the Buccaneers. And this was his very first game in New Orleans, in the Superdome, and it was a strange day. It was a strange game. They lost, and to see Tom Brady in the NFC in the Dome and wearing white on white. Non-color rush, but a white on white Buccaneers uniform.
Right. And there was no reason for them to wear white on white. They're indoors. It's not hot, but they chose to do that a lot in the beginning of that first season that he was with the Buccaneers. Who knows why. And
he held on to his helmet.
Right.
The same model helmet.
Speedflex Diamond with the pewter and dark face mask made it a little less noticeable, a little more similar to his original helmet. Could get away with it looking a little better, but still it would have been nice to see him go back to his original model.
Here you have the better look that you'd expect from the Buccaneers. The classic Tom Brady delivery that he's getting ready to fire and throw on the left. And then there's the Super Bowl against the Chiefs at home that the Buccaneers, they decided to wear home. It should have been them wearing the red, and they chose the white because the previous year in the 19 Super Bowl, it was the 49ers and the Chiefs wore the red. So the Chiefs had to wear the red back-to-back seasons. But it ended up well. I mean, they destroyed the Chiefs. They embarrassed the Chiefs. It was over at halftime. And although I would have preferred in many ways for them to just go ahead and wear the home, it made for an above average Super Bowl for uniforms.
Yeah. The Peter pants make such a big difference. Looks a lot better matching the helmet. And as you said, they did choose to wear white at home. For the Super Bowl, when they could have worn red, maybe Tom Brady was wanting to continue his streak in white from the Patriots, but the Buccaneers did wear a lot of white that year anyway.
They were on a good run, at least for a couple of those playoff games, with winning in New Orleans and Green Bay,
Right.
Wearing the white. But I gotta think that there was something there too with Brady. I mean, they're gonna wear what he wants.
Yeah.
And here are a couple of the red. You have the red on the pewter here on the left, which would be my top choice for the home uniform. And then actually on the right, you have, that was opening week 1 in Dallas last year, his final week 1 kickoff weekend of his career, which was a surprise to me. There were white pants.
Yeah. 2 years in a row they opened against the Cowboys, and it was 2021. They were at home against the Cowboys, and they wore the white on pewter, and the Cowboys wore the blue on silver. And then last year, 2022, it was reversed, and they chose to wear the white pants, even though they're indoors. It's not hot, and the pewter would match the pewter helmet better. They chose to wear the white pants.
Fortunately, we had to save the worst for last. When it comes to the uniforms, all the uniforms Tom Brady wore, pewter on pewter. Pewter on pewter.
And for me, the design and the structure, the numbers are all still really good, making it one of the better color-on-color jerseys out there, in my opinion. Especially the pants, having the nice stripe helps a lot, but you still have the stocking, see-through sock, whatever you want to call it, looking very thin, making your legs look very thin, and just not a good balanced look like it is in the case of every other team that does this. But
there's just absolutely no contrast. I mean, you look all the way down, helmet, jersey, pants, socks.
yeah,
The only thing that's different color is, well, primarily a different color is the shoes, but we're not going to comment really too much on shoes yet.
yeah,
But to me, if I'm looking at all the uniforms he wore in his entire career, Patriots, Buccaneers, this gets my vote for the worst.
yeah.
The one regret, though, and disappointment I have for Tom Brady's career in uniforms is we did not get to see the creamsicles with the Buccaneers.
Right.
Which we just had the recent announcement and saw the pictures for the Buccaneers, which we will be getting to in a future episode. It's going to be a separate episode on the alternates coming up. It's not even going to be a uniform show. It's just going to be a review of the alternates. And it was just saying, wow, Tom Brady didn't get to wear this. What a blown opportunity. But he got to wear these.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest he got was wearing the orange jersey in practice and training camp. It's the closest he got to the creamsicles. And again, they were announced to be coming back in 2021, but because of supply chain shortages, from what I read, they were delayed along with the Seahawks and Eagles last year. And so 2023 is when they were finally released. And Baker Mayfield, at least in the initial photos, is the one wearing the uniform. He gets to wear orange again.
And the last thing we have to comment is, well, it's at the very bottom, and it's the shoes. It's the last thing you see. It's not, for me, it's not personally the last thing I'm looking at. Sometimes I say, well, the player gets everything right. Or I'll even say, I'll look for a woman's outfit. She gets everything right, but blew it with the shoes. Well, Tom Brady did some strange things with his shoes over the years, the latter half of his career. And once more, this is your area of expertise, so I'm handing it off to you. JD.
We noticed that at a certain point, the cleat shoes started changing, and we called the ones on the left the ruby slippers. And they really stood out because aside from the red in the face mask for the Patriots and the little bit in the jersey and pants, there's not enough red, in our opinions, to be wearing full-blown red or ruby slippers.
They really should
in
be
this case.
They really should be reversed. I mean, the colors here.
Right.
What is blue should be red, and what is red should be blue.
And they are glossy, shiny, so even more kind of not matching the red in the rest of the jersey and a deeper color. What he had in the earlier parts of his career were better. We saw him start to wear these, and to us they look like platform shoes. K-Swiss platform shoes that you see women wear more frequently.
Yeah, I mean, they almost have the look of more of an arch or a heel, depending on the angle you have. Not so much here, but we always refer to these. I see them this way. I call them the DJ Tanners. That's what I call them, because she wore shoes like this at the last season or so of Full House, and I thought it was a bad look even on a woman personally. But I saw these as the DJ Tanners from a distance, and that's what I'm going to continue to call them, DJ Tanner shoes on Tom Brady. And that's what he usually wore this past season.
Yep.
And he didn't finish his career the way we would have liked to from a uniform standpoint with the helmet in New England. And he continued to wear that helmet in Tampa Bay, but then the shoes. You complete the uniform by at least having solid shoes. And it was something we didn't have to worry about in the past, but it's a big problem in sports. All three of the major sports, football, baseball, basketball, it's all about making a statement with the shoes. And it's not like we're talking about Michael Jordan wearing his Air Jordans in the old days, and everyone's just like, wow.
Classy.
Yes. It's not the case here. I mean, the only thing you can say was, well, they're all white. Not the style you'd be going for. So that's the career of Tom Brady. It was a 20-plus season career. We saw all kinds of changes occur with uniforms, from helmets to jerseys to changes in the pants, turnbacks, color rushes, shoes. We saw it all, just about all, over that span from when he started playing in 2001 till his final season in 2022.
Yeah, I wish he could have finished as well as he started, but at least he spent most of his career looking pretty good.
And, I have to say this, even though we're talking about uniforms here, and we bring it up in other future episodes, though, how did he not retire? Winning the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, getting number 7, there was nothing left to do. I mean, that would have been the perfect ending to anyone's career, saying, I could win one without Belichick. I won one with another team in another conference, and I have so separated myself from every other quarterback in history that I've won 3 more than anybody else. I just don't understand a lot of these players when they have the perfect ending. There's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to prove. But he came back for 2 more seasons. Didn't hurt his legacy at all. Didn't. But nothing was added to his legacy either.
Right.
Got to the playoffs. Actually, last year they were a team with a losing record. They really shouldn't have been in the playoffs. And that's one we usually talk about, is who actually leaves on top with the perfect ending. You had, same sport, the NFL, you had John Elway. He left and retired, winning back-to-back Super Bowls, and he obviously still had something left in the tank. Then we bring up Tony La Russa with the Cardinals in 2011. He wins a World Series, and you're saying, oh, what a great ending to his career. And then he comes back with the White Sox for what? And everyone's going to, most will forget about that. I won't. And then we, of course, in the NBA talk about Michael Jordan. Oh, you come back out of retirement, you three-peat in a perfect ending with the Bulls, and he comes back with the Wizards? But I will miss him. The league will not be the same without Tom Brady, and obviously the league misses him too. And as far as I'm concerned, we can put any comparisons on hold for a good long while. Until Patrick Mahomes wins 5 Super Bowls, then let's not even have a discussion about greatest quarterback of all time.